everyone. Today I'm going to be looking at just the maths lessons. Year 6, you're going to be doing substitution. So this follows on from what you were doing before half term, when you were looking at algebra and you started looking at expressions. So that's what we're going to have a quick look at today. I'm just going to share the PowerPoint with you that you're going to be looking at. Okay, and there it is. So I'm quickly going to go through that. Now, I know that the green group aren't doing this particular worksheet. However, it's still the same principles. It's still looking at a substitution. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. Basically, when we're thinking about substitution, it's substituting a number for a symbol, and that could be a shape or it could be a letter. Okay, so and an expression, if you think back to what you were doing before half term, is something that's written, for example, if you can see where my mouse is now, I'm just circling over here. We've got in this this box over here, we've got 2x subtract 5. That's an expression, okay? And the substitution in that is the x, okay? So let's just go back over to question 1. So just wanted to clarify with you what that is. So it isn't anything overcomplicated, substitution. It just means substituting a number for a symbol or a letter. Okay, now this is pretty straightforward today because they actually tell you what the symbols are worth, and you've just got to work out the total. So it's not tricky today. Sometimes you haven't been given the substitution and you've got to work it out. And sometimes you have to do the inverse operation to work that out. And some of you did a little bit of that before half term, so don't worry about it. Now, if we have a look at question 1 over here, we can see that the pentagon is worth 4 and the circle is worth 5. So basically, all you've got to do is have a look here at exactly what is drawn in front of you. In the space next to it, write down the numbers. So you're going to substitute the shapes for the correct number. So you will write down here 4 plus 4 plus 5. And then over here is where you write your answer. They're not quite in line, but that's where you write your first answer. Okay, so make sure you write it out before you work it out. Under here, you've got a subtraction and a multiplication, exactly the same. They've given you the numbers. So the triangle is worth 12 and the square is worth 5, and then you've just got to work it out. Underneath there, it says create your own calculation. That will be equal to 22. Okay, so you've got to use those symbols. So use the triangle, which equals 12, and the square that equals 5 to write your own little calculation or expression. Okay, now going over to question 5 here. This is where it can get a little bit tricky because you're not in school and because we're not having formal lessons on this, okay? It is tricky, so I want you to watch carefully. If you've got your symbol right next to a number, so for example, in this first box here, we've got 3x, that means multiply, okay? So if it said 3 and then a circle, it would be exactly the same, 3 times the circle. This is 3 times whatever x represents. And it tells you what x represents at the top. So x represents 5. So for this first box here, you're basically just doing 3 times 5. And I've done that one for you over here, look, 15. The next one says x squared. And you all know what a square number is. So that one's pretty self-explanatory. And then you write the answer in the box over here, the white box. So if we look at this third one, 2x subtract 5, that means that you've got to do 2 times x, which is 5, remember. So 2 times 5, work it out, and then subtract 5. Okay, so do it in the order that it's written. The only time when we don't do it in the order is when we have brackets. So let's go to the one directly underneath. So if there are brackets in your expression, that means that you've got to work out that part first before you do the rest of it. So you've got to work out here x plus 1. Well, you know x is 5, so it's 5 plus 1. So write down 6. And then your 2 is directly next to that expression. So you are going to then multiply whatever you've got in your brackets by 2. Okay, because the 2 is directly next to the x here, even though there are brackets around it. Okay, so you'd have 6 in your brackets multiplied by 2. The next one's pretty self-explanatory. It's a multiplication again because the number is directly next to the letter. That one, x plus 9, simple, and x subtract 7. Okay, so the only time when they're a little bit complicated and you need to try and remember is when your symbol is directly next to your number and it means multiply, or if there are brackets and you always do that part first. Okay, otherwise do it in order from the beginning to the end of your expression. This one here, they've given you what A equals and what B equals, and you've just got to work them out. Again, you've got brackets for F down there. Right, this one, if M equals 4 over 5, so that's like 4 divided by 5, and K equals 0.1, then you've got to work out the value of M, which is the answer to 4 divided by 5, plus 2 lots of K. Well, you know that K equals 0.1, so 2 of those, okay, 2 times 0.1. All right, so you're going to have to do a little bit of working out on some paper to do that one, or underneath there's plenty of space. Question 6, read whatever is in these speech bubbles, you need to read really carefully, okay? It does not matter what P and Q are. P plus Q and Q plus P will always give the same answer. That's what Mo is saying. That's his statement, and you've got to say whether or not you agree and why. Down here again, you've got to decide whether let's have a look at A, whether 2M or 2 times M. Now M equals 7 at the top. Okay, so use the box, M equals 7. 2 times 7, you've got to decide whether it's greater than, less than, or equal to 10. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it's M or N. At the top, it tells you what they represent. Okay, so have a look at that one. C, a little bit more tricky, but it certainly isn't something you can't work out. Just make sure that it is, look at C with me, 2N plus M is 2 times N, which is 2 times 5, plus M, so that's plus 7. Okay, do it in order because there aren't any brackets. Okay, you've got plenty of space here to work everything out as well, so don't be afraid to use that space to do your working out rather than get another piece of paper. Just do it on here. Okay, this time you've got to start with the smallest value and work up to the largest value. Value meaning work out the expression, okay? And then once you've got the answers, you write the expression, not the answer, in that box. So 5A equals 10. So 5 times 10 is your first one. 10 plus 5, 10 divided by 5, and 10 squared. Okay, work them out and then write the expression in order, starting with the smallest. This time, if A equals 15, you've got to write 3 different expressions that give you a total of 40, okay? And you've got only that A equals 15. So obviously it's got to have A in it somewhere, okay? Have a go. There's lots of different answers for that one. So just have a little go. And then the last one here, if X equals the numbers in the X column, and then the next column is 5x, and then the next column is 5x subtract 1. So start with the first row. You've got 2 in the x column. So the next row along is 5x. So that would be 5 times 2 because x equals 2. Okay, if you can see that here, look, I'll circle it. So if x equals 2, then in your next column, substitute the x for 2, be 5 times 2. So you would put 10 in there. And then over here, 5 times 2, remember we're still in the same row, so x is still worth 2, subtract 1. So 5 times 2 is 10, take away 1 is 9. Okay, now as you go down, when you get to here, you don't know the value of x, but you know that 5 times x equals 25. So for some of these, you've got to work backwards. Okay, have a go. Once you think you know what x is, then try and work the other way and see if you're correct. Okay, so that's it for year 6. Just put my video back on. So that's it for year 6. I know the green group have got a different worksheet, but it's the same principles. Okay, substitution is the same for both worksheets. Okay, all right then, good luck with that.